So let's go for it. Welcome again, officially. Hello, Dee. Welcome to Lead the Life You Were Born to Live in 2024. This webinar is designed to help you to create a positive mindset to make your dream a reality. And there's so much already in this title, because when you look at the wording, I think it's really important. Lead the life you were born to live. It's basically so much is actually encapsulated there. And I want you to remember the idea of leading rather than being led, or rather than sort of just simply living. It's like you are empowering yourself to lead the life. And that takes courage, it takes accountability. And I'm going to go into all of these things as we go through it. So please do, as always, use the chat function. Please make any comments. I'm probably not going to have much time to go into direct questions. So if you do have anything, put it into the chat. And if I can, I will certainly respond to it. The polls are there for you, and they're really helpful because they're going to help me to shape this and tailor it to the best of my ability. Hello, Maria. It's so lovely to have you all here this evening. So as you know, if you've been to my webinars before, what I always do, and I think it's so important before anything that is meaningful to you in your life, whether it's something like this, where we're really trying to get clarity on one dream for 2024, or whether it's like you're going into a meeting in work, whether you're meeting someone on a personal level and you really want to feel like you're in control, that you're calm, that you're centered. We're going to pause before we begin. And I think that's just so essential, to go into stillness and to get some calmness before we begin. So if you are comfortable and ready to do so, just really feel your 2 feet on the ground, okay? I should say as well to have a pen and paper somewhere close by, because you're going to need it. So have your feet on the ground, allow your spine to be nice and straight, allow the shoulders to just kind of drop back, and feel the space that can really come between the shoulders. This expanse in this space is very, very reassuring, very opening. So allow your palms to remain in an upright position, and just let's close the eyes for a moment. And together, wherever we are in the world, whether it's Utah, whether it's Spain, whether it's Berlin, whether it's Donegal, Cork, wherever you are, let's just take this moment to join together, to come into stillness, and to take 3 really deep breaths. So when you're ready, a full inhale through the nose, and a long and slow exhale through the mouth. Slowly releasing. Let's go for number 2. Deeper again. Filling right up. And that lovely, long, slow, measured exhale. And then our third and our deepest breath yet, right into the belly. Hold it for a moment and just really start to get clarity of why you are here, the intention of being here, as you exhale fully, slowly through your mouth. Gently just releasing, letting go. Allow a smile to come to your face as you open up your eyes. And really, it's just such a simple thing to do. I always do it, as you'll know if you follow my work. So please do practice this as you go through 2024. Come into stillness, create space for yourself. It takes a few moments and it just makes such a difference. So we're going to move on to the overview of the webinar. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to look at all of the components. So basically, what one dream do you need to work on? So I specifically really want to tailor in on this idea of one dream, because I think when we try to accomplish too much, we can get really, really overwhelmed. So I want to help you get clarity on this. And I'm going to ask you some very important questions to help you. And that's why you're going to need your pen and your paper. So we're working here this evening through it. I'm going to then look at the 3 subconscious blocks. And this again comes from a lot of clinical experience in my work where I see people coming up against the same things that prevent them from moving forward. We're going to look at why living from the heart, living from love and not fear is so, so important, and how to actually think with the heart. And essentially, it's actually not really thinking, but really listening to the wisdom of the heart. And also the gut has great instinct as well, as I'm sure you know. We're going to look at reframing challenges for a positive mindset. And this is so key to your success. I can't overestimate it enough how important this component is. We're going to look at patience. My goodness, patience is definitely a superpower, and why it's so important for you to realize your dream, start to work towards it this year. We're going to look at really trusting in your ability to be happy. And this is something, again, that not many people maybe realize, but how we can, the stories that we tell ourselves, that the narrative that you might have in your mind is a block to your own happiness. And really, so much of the work is stepping out of your own way, is getting out of that space and allowing yourself to really know that you deserve whatever your dream is and to be happy. I'm going to look at something I'm doing a huge amount of work on last year and now this year again, and that is the area of self-compassion and why it is actually very, very motivating. So there's a lot there in terms of really why we want to cultivate self-compassion as opposed to self-esteem. So I'll touch on that, and it's an important component as well. I'm going to look at redefining success and give you some examples there. And then I will finish with a really beautiful, powerful guided hypnotherapy session. So we might go on a little bit longer, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. We'll see how we go, but just to keep that in mind, because it's really important that you benefit from the meditation, the hypnotherapy at the end. So moving on then to the first is looking at the next slide there. So a single dream is worth more than 1,000 realities, J.L. Token. So that's a lovely little quote to help get us, motivated. And moving on then again. So this is really where we're going to get more clarity of what one dream do you want to work towards or realize in 2024. So what I have here is I've got 4 questions for you. And what I'm just going to actually take a moment to look at the polls, if that's all right, because if that's okay, because what I want to do is just see how many of you have got back onto, do you have clarity? So 69% of you are saying that you do have clarity, which is actually, I'm delighted to see that. That's really, really good. That's really high. Either way, these questions will help you. Certainly, they will help for the 31% who say they don't have clarity. And then when we look at this idea of, are you already now leading the life you were born to live? Only 28% of you are saying yes, that you are. And that, to be honest, is not a surprise, really, because the statistics show that 96% of adults are not actually sort of in line with their dream, whether that's through their work, through the type of lifestyle that they have. So you really aren't alone here. But that's really, really helpful. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is, the first question I have for you is, what did you love to do as a child? What did you love to do as a child? Whether it was, painting, dancing, art, music, playing in the fields, whatever it is, I want you to just start to get really clear on what did you love to do, and just write as many things as you can that you loved to do as a child, and just keep brainstorming with them. We can share in the chat as well, because this will inspire and help others. Dance, hello Marisol, yes, lovely, okay. Yeah, so keep them coming in, whatever it is that you loved to do as a child. That is number 1 question. The second one is, what did dress up, Mary? Lovely. What did you dream of doing? Okay, that's really nice, being with your grandparents. what did you dream of doing? And I suppose more specifically, this is where you might have said, I'm going to be an astronaut, or I'm going to be a pilot, or a ballet dancer, or win Wimbledon, or be a footballer, or astronaut. Yes, there we go. Okay. So just start to think, what did you dream of doing? All right. And that will help us. Okay. Keep the chat going. Whatever comes to you, just let me know. Astronaut, anything else? So the second question, Kieran, is what did you dream of doing? Brilliant. Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, so keep them coming in. And really what we're doing is we're starting to reconnect. Wanted to be an author? Well, there you go, Danny. Things are working out. That's fantastic. A piano teacher, lovely, Sharon. Yeah, okay. Being able to do ballroom dancing, Breda, fantastic, lovely. I love all these different things coming in. So essentially a teacher, yeah, Erin, you know, that's really high up there. A lot of people want to be a teacher. I think it was a teacher and a pilot were two of the big ones that came in. Run around the fields with cousins and siblings and dogs, brilliant. Okay, lovely. A trapeze artist, yeah, in a circus. Fantastic. Yeah, I think I remember wanting to be in a circus. I want to be able to fly, yes. I remember that too. So we start to see that we've got a lot, like we can share a lot of these dreams. A vet, that's another really strong one. An activist, organize shows, brilliant. Okay, so what's happening here as we go through this, right, is hopefully now we're starting to feel some level of emotion. When you start to allow yourself to remember these things, to stay with that, to start to feel the energy from that. My fourth question is, my third question is, what did this make you feel like? The things that you love to do and what you dreamed of. Artist Orla, yeah. What was the emotion that started to come from it? So for example, let's say Marisol, the dancing, what was that feeling that arose from the dancing? Was it a feeling of freedom? Was it a feeling of joy, as Angela says? Start to get the feeling and be as specific as you can. Pride, Edel, brilliant. Okay, these are really helpful. Freedom, Orla, beautiful. Excited and free, fantastic. These are really happy and excited. So can you start to see that the emotions are just really, really positive and they're very, very motivating. Connected to my body, yes, absolutely. Freedom, says Miriam. Yeah, absolutely. I think freedom is something that keeps coming up. That's certainly one that I can relate to. Relaxed and calm, creative, brilliant. Wow, confident, Edel. Go for it, Edel. Fantastic. This is exactly what I want to have coming in. Okay, so what we're going to do now, right, is that emotion, the emotion that underpins those different dreams, the things that you love to do, is where we start now. We start to work with creating an internal state of joy, of freedom, of confidence, of happiness, whatever it is specifically for you. And you start to actually say, okay, I need to place all of my attention, all of my awareness, all of my energy on that internal state, because it is the internal state that is actually going to create the external outcome. And so much of life, of what we're conditioned to believe, of what we see, of what we believe, is the opposite. We believe that when we achieve the dream, we will actually create that internal state. But the truth is, what we're really seeking, what we really want, is the internal state. That's what creates the health, the wealth, the abundance, and the joy. It's not the external. So, for example, you know, I've been sharing recently, the dream of myself and Kieran is to divide our time between here and Ireland. And we are realizing that dream. And yes, it's wonderful. Yes, it's fantastic. But I know deep, deep down in my heart that where it comes from is the internal work that I've done over the years. It's from a feeling of being positive and strong within that actually creates that light externally, that creates the courage, because it takes courage. And that is the word, I suppose, that when I look at realizing this dream, it has been actually very courageous, because you've got to step out of that comfort zone. You've got to be able to take risks. You've got to be able to go into sort of territories that you don't feel comfortable in. And yet the internal state of that joy, of that freedom, is there regardless. And that's so much of what I want to share and help you with as we go through the session this evening, is that no matter what happens, no matter whether you have the house in Crete, no matter if you start that business, no matter if you become the piano teacher, no matter if you, become a dancer, whatever the dream is, right? That you always have the internal state as your reference point. It's like the what is the fourth question? Yeah, it's coming. You always have that. Okay, so that's one of the key insights from this evening, is that the internal state is what creates the external. So to help get more clarity on the one dream, right? The fourth question here, I just sent me a little DM there. What is the fourth question? Thank you, sweethearts. The fourth question is, what does this look like in your life today? And when I say, what does this look like, what I actually mean is that dream from childhood, what you loved to do as a child, okay? Because the truth is that many people will stray very, very far away from that. They'll get sort of caught up in what they feel they should do, what they feel that is necessary, that they have to make a living. I'm not just talking about work here. I'm talking about, how we live our lives, how true we are to our own self, and what we actually need, and not just want, but need for our own fulfillment, to give us meaning, to give us purpose. And to give you an example of this, I had a client who was an accountant and was very, very frustrated, let's say, in her work. She never really wanted to be an accountant. Her father was an accountant, and this was kind of expected of her. But when she was a child, like Marisol, she loved to dance, and she was a brilliant Irish dancer, and she had won loads of awards and medals and been in feshes and done all of these things. And when I spoke to her about that in our sessions, I could see that energy that we had here this evening coming. I could see her kind of lighting up and saying, yeah, I remember. And, she could almost, like her feet were starting to tap away. And she was just became so ignited and so full of life and so full of light. And really, what I sort of was helping, and it came from her essentially, but what I was doing is guiding her towards how could she bring that into her life today. Now, she was obviously too old. She was like in her 40s. Was she going to be able to be a professional dancer? Probably not. But what could she do? How does that look like in your life today? So what she did is actually she went back and she started to take up Irish dancing classes again. So she was still an accountant. She was taking up her Irish dancing classes, but she also then began to have the idea of a business of opening an Irish dancing school for kids. And she started to bring that slowly, siga, as they say in Greece, into her life. And therefore, her dream started to realize. And that's what I want you to start to think of today. How can I make this something like, okay, maybe I can't be the astronaut, but maybe I can start as a hobby to take some flying lessons, for example, right? There's always something there. And we owe it to ourselves to be faithful to that child that still lives within us, that fearless version of ourselves that has absolutely no fear and utter faith and belief in their ability to do what they want. And that is still within you. It's just been, like many of us as adults, it's been sort of layers and layers and layers have been put over us. And we then get so far removed from it that we start to doubt, we start to fear. And that brings me on to the next section, which is the blocks, the most common blocks. So Karen, if you wouldn't mind, the next slide there. So this is a great question. What would you do if you weren't afraid? And actually, let's just take a moment there to ask yourself that, to question that. Like, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Okay. I'm going to go into the polls here and just look again at some of the answers that you might have given. So does fear get in the way of you making progress with a dream? And like, honestly, 91% are saying, yes, it does. So this is something we have to address. It's like, we can't ignore this. It is the elephant in the room. So as much as I talk about it and help you, when that fear is there, it's never going to sort of, you'll never be able to move further than past it. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to work with it, we need to welcome it in, and we need to know that it is actually really normal and part of being human. It would be really odd if you weren't afraid. It would be something strange. Like us buying the house here, we're definitely full of kind of like, is it the right thing, is it the right place, oh my god, lots of things can come in, right? But what we've got to do is work with it. We cannot allow the fear to take control. So the next slide there will show you the 3 most common subconscious blocks. So these are, what if I can't? And just let me know in the chat if that resonates. Like, what if I can't do this? What if I'm not able? Does that resonate? Does it sound like something that you might say to yourself? What if I can't? What if I can't manage? What if I can't cope? What if I can't pay the bills? What if I can't? Does that come into you? Just let me know. 100% says Edel. Yeah, yes, absolutely, Linda. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so it's something that Nuala, yes, every now and then, says Breda. Okay, so there's a sense of doubting, definitely. Yes, for me too, says Mary. But I want you to think back again to that idea of your inner child. Aileen says definitely. Yeah, we're not alone here. Honestly, it's so understandable. It's so common. Hi, Colette, you're so welcome. Yes, exactly. Sheena, if health goes, yes, absolutely. The concerns over health, all of these things. And these are so normal. Hello, Thomas, you're really welcome. Yes, too often. Definitely the financial. Yes, absolutely. I think we can relate to that. Absolutely hard to take. Says Sandra, hard to take risks. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So what I want to say to you on that note is that this is really normal, okay? That it's really, really normal that those are there. So we have to give ourselves permission. D, the fear of failure, absolutely. And the fear of failure is never that far from the fear of success. They're both quite interlinked in many, many ways. So the sense is that we need to really cultivate a sense of awareness that that's going to be there. It's part of being human. It's part of our very protective, primitive brains. So the key is to actually welcome it in, not to fight it, not to resist it. The difference between you now and you as the child who really did believe that you could fly, that you could be the astronaut, that you could do whatever it is that you wanted. The difference is that your brain has developed in many ways since then. And as a result, it's going to be quite glitchy. It's going to be tricky. However, this awareness of how your brain works means that you have capacity to actually take leadership over it. We need to be aware of it, but not to be led by it. We can't be led by the fear. We just need to be aware that it's there, that it's normal, and that it's understandable. And that is actually hugely life-changing, because now you're not sort of like going, I'll do it when I'm not afraid. I'll do it when I'm more confident. I'll do it when. No, you're saying, well, okay, this is here. But what's also here is that underlying, if we go back to that positive emotion that was there, that you feel when you create that state, when you feel when you're, dancing or painting or writing or whatever it is, that is there also. And really, it's about growing that positive and allowing it to start to lead the fear, if you like, into a place where it can start to feel more comfortable, where you're starting to kind of almost show it, look, it is okay. You can do this. And there is a sense of gentleness, a sense of compassion, and a sense of working with yourself. So hopefully that helps in terms of what if I can't. The truth is you can 100%. However, that fear and that doubt is going to need to come with you. Don't expect to leave it. Bring it with you. Open out your hand and say, come, my friend, come, my love. It's okay. You can do this. And to cultivate a sense of that inner parent, like you're parenting yourself. The second thing is, what will people think? My goodness, this is really, really huge. And essentially it is coming from a place of insecurity. It's the fear again. It's the same fear, but in a different form. It's just using different words, but ultimately it's that sense of doubt. It's a sense of comparison. And you probably have heard that comparison is the thief of joy. So let me know, does that come in for people? What will people think? Yes, the comfort zone, Valerie, is, as I often say, very uncomfortable. Balanced with hope and wishes, says Anne. Thank you. So let me know there, what people think stop you? Or is that becoming maybe less of an issue? Or is it strong? Just let me know. Leslie, I've come to believe that staying in my comfort zone is not easier, a double bind. Well done, Leslie. So that's a really good breakthrough, right? You're beginning to see that it's not comfortable at all. The comfort zone is actually so uncomfortable. Comparisons is the thief of joy. Yeah, fierce worried about this. Definitely want to get back to creating work without worrying about how it's received. Yes, absolutely. So that's when you're kind of, Danny, too concerned about what other people are going to think of your work. And the truth is, some people are going to love it and some people won't. And that's being at peace with that, I think, is so important. And yes, it can, that they will doubt my ability. I think it's rooted. It is, Edel. Patricia, yes, less an issue than when younger. Yeah, it does. It definitely gets easier, I think, as we mature. So you're spot on there, Colette. No, says Valerie, I'm currently looking at buying a house, looking at options. It scares me to do it alone. Oh, that's understandable. My goodness, Miriam, that really is. But think about it for a moment and consider the alternative. And the alternative is often much more scary, of not buying the home, right? So the idea is that you actually are bringing that fear into creating something, as opposed to having the fear and creating nothing. The fear is going to be there. So it's like the courage, and I think that's, again, but any of these huge changes in our lives, buying a home, starting a business, anything like that, the courage is just so crucial. And you can do it. I know you can. More than any other blocks, says Maria. Okay, yeah. Yes, sometimes worried about what other things. No, doesn't apply. Well done, Margaret. Yes, my experience is often it threatens other people's sense of themselves. Yeah, that's a really well observed comment, Anthony. It is. It can often be a sense of other people might not like it because you're suddenly doing something different, and that can threaten, as you say, their sense of themselves. Aileen, yes, but not as much when I was younger. Yeah. Okay, great. So don't know where to start. Oh, Angela, well, look, you're starting in the right place. You're here, and we're all here to help you. This is when the people pleaser really comes out. Yes, absolutely, Dee. Louise, you're welcome. Staying in routine and comfort zone is appealing rather than taking the risks. Yes, well, it may seem appealing, but ultimately it isn't, because the truth is that when you look back on your life, it's the sense of going, well, am I happy that I stayed in that comfort zone? Where is the growth? Where is the development? Where is the learning? And we are, as human beings, we have so much potential within us. We have so much to give, and we need to be always learning. We need to be always growing, and because that just makes such a difference. Okay, so with that, right, essentially not caring what people think is very rare. Again, it's the fear. It's very rare. It's very understandable. It's human nature to care what other people think. We want to care what other people think in the sense of we want to make sure that we're being compassionate, that we're being thoughtful. So when it comes to actually the deeper sense of not caring what they think in terms of being true to yourself, that requires a lot of feeling of security, of deep inner work, that you have faith in yourself and that your opinion is actually the most important. So that requires a lot of self-care, a lot of self-love. It is easier to stay in my comfort zone. So that is the third block that I was referring to. And again, it's a myth. It's like the comfort zone, the longer it goes on, there's like a voice that can come into your head and niggle that can be drowned out, and people try to drown it out, whether it's through social media scrolling, whether it's alcohol, whether it's Netflix, whether it's shopping, whatever it might be. But that voice, that niggle that is telling you, you have more to give. There's more in you. There's more in your life. Like, this is one life. That's it, as far as we know, and whatever beliefs you may have. But this is it for now. And what am I going to do with it? And when we ignore that voice, we really do ignore it at our peril. It's like ignoring that inner child, that little girl or boy inside, and just pushing them away. And like I said, we owe it to ourselves to actually say, no, I want to listen, I want to help, and I want to take practical steps. It's about, stepping with caution and care and measure out of the comfort zone. It's not throwing all caution to the wind. It's doing it in a way that is actually measured. Like I said, with the example of the client who set up her own business, slowly, she was still the accountant. Then she had some evening classes. Then it started to grow. She was safe. She was in a place that she could do that. So it's just that kind of transition that can really, really help. Okay, so next slide there, Kieran, if you don't mind, sweetheart. So you are here to live from the heart. Okay, so this is another part that's really going to help in terms of getting out of our own way, because that's one of the things I said earlier, and it's really, really true that we are the biggest blocks ourselves. Those 3 blocks that I've identified are the things that get in the way. And they all tend to live up here, right? In terms of the thoughts that can spin around. It can feel like the brain is like burning with all of those thoughts. But what we want to do, and that's why dropping into stillness, like I did at the start of this webinar, and creating that space for yourself, and really actually going into the heart space, thinking from the heart. So just the next slide there, look, would be great. That is actually where we start to feel so much more. Just one back, love. Yeah, thanks. So the idea of living from love and not fear. And, it is said that there are the two prime emotions, and they'll have lots of different kind of sub emotions coming from them, but it's either love or it's fear. And usually we're kind of in one or the other, or in, as I say, one of these middle places. But what we want to do is keep moving towards love. And love is very much centered in that heart space. It's a sense of being able to connect in to the courage within your heart, because your heart, it's not afraid. And if you take a moment right now and you reflect back on a time in your life where you really did show incredible courage, where you may have surprised yourself, where something kicked in that completely took over. And quite often it's in situations that can be quite, it can be a challenge, a trauma of some sort, somebody ill, some kind of, situation where you feel threatened, something where all of a sudden you were able to really dig deep, and you were able to actually not just get through that situation, but you're able to come through it stronger. You're here today. You still have so much within you. So I want you to think about that for a moment. Write it down, because it's really important. What it does is it starts to remind you of who you are and remind you of what you're capable of. We do not give ourselves credit of what we're capable of. And that's because we get so caught up with, like I said, the narrative, the story that just goes round and round, and it spins, and it makes your head spin. But your heart is not spinning. Your heart is still. Your heart is present. Your heart is here. And when you can connect to that energy, when you can start to actually communicate with it, when you can start to say, do I want this? Is this the right thing for me? What is this one dream? And you can try it right now. If you have an idea of what your dream is, close your eyes, put your hand to your heart, and just ask yourself, for example, is it, I want to start my own business. Is this the right thing for me? Listen to your heart. Never mind what the head is saying about X, Y, or Z. Just listen to the heart. Yes or no. You'll get the clarity. It's really, really simple when we go from this place. What is love saying? Love is saying, yes. Yes, you can start your own business. Yes, you can buy that house. Yes, you can start a new relationship. Breda, a resounding yes. Okay, so that is just, it's like, it's so uplifting. It's so reassuring. And I think so much of what we're looking for is to be reassured, isn't it? That's why we often ask other people, what do you think? What do you think? Should I do it? Or I'm not sure. Never mind what they say. It's what does your heart say? That's what matters. So whenever you find yourself starting to look outwards for validation or for reassurance, bring it back, ask yourself, connect to your heart, and you will get the clarity. So hopefully now this is starting to happen for you as we move through this. So you're starting to see, yes, I do want this. Or maybe it's no, right? And that's okay too, because what matters is that you're getting it right and that you're following what is true to yourself, not what you think you should do based on other people, conventions, etc. Okay. And just to say as well, like, you know, relationships, if you're somebody, maybe you're thinking you would like to start a new relationship, for example, well, that takes huge courage to be vulnerable in a relationship. Again, takes huge courage, but you have it within yourself. You deserve to have that. There's a question come in there. How do you connect to your heart and not have that voice drowned out by the voices in your head? Lovely and very important question, Janine. Essentially, it is through the practice of stillness, like I said. It's meditation. It's really coming into a space where you practice. So much of it is a practice. It's a training and it's a skill that you develop over time. But the more often you do it, the sort of easier the route in, if you like, is. I think nature is a wonderful way. Like here in Crete, we've just been blessed with being surrounded by majestic mountains, blue sea, and that in itself brings so much clarity and stillness and allows you to connect to your heart. So when you can get into nature on your own, solo time, these things make a huge difference. Okay, so we'll move on, Kieran, if you don't mind, to the next slide. Yes, I have to tell you this story because first of all, well, it is Zorba the Greek and it is set here on Crete. Nikos Kazantzakis is the author who was from Crete. He's buried here. And actually on his grave, it says, I have nothing to fear. I have nothing to hope for. I am free. Okay. So the idea that he is unattached to everything is quite uplifting as well. This idea that he is completely independent, if you like, that he has freed his spirit and that he is living his full life. And this character that he created, I don't know if you've ever read Zorba the Greek or seen the movie, but my goodness, it's encapsulates so much of what I want to share with you this evening. So this quote from it: life is trouble, only death is not. To be alive is to undo your belt and look for trouble. And actually John Kabat-Zinn, who some of you may know his amazing work in mindfulness, he wrote a book. It's got a doorstop of a book called The Full Catastrophe of Living, and he took that title again from Zorba the Greek, who says that to be living is the full catastrophe of living. That it's this whole sense of, and you see that in the Greek culture, that there's just this sense of everything coming and everything going, and life at its most energetic, if you like. So the story, just to give you a little brief idea of how this is helpful, Kieran, if you wouldn't mind the next slide there, is that basically how to reframe challenges for a positive mindset. Just the one back. Yeah, thanks, sweetheart. That's it. Yeah. So basically in the story of Zorba, okay, there's this intellectual guy who comes over to Crete to set up it was a disused mining a mine. It was a disused mine, and he wanted to get away from the books and the study, and he wanted to do something real with his hands. And he meets this guy called Zorba, who basically asks him for work. And they go through the journey is really about their relationship developing, and how they both, what's so amazing is that they both kind of inspire each other. Like the writer is so kind of, he's very rigid and quite, serious, and Zorba's just everything goes, anything goes. He does his amazing dance and all of this. And essentially they work together to try to get this mind open. He spends all his money, he does everything to get it going. And there's this incredible scene, both in the book and in the movie, where all of their work literally falls apart. The mine, everything they've constructed falls to the ground. And rather than getting completely disheartened, depressed, or even angry or furious with one another, they start to laugh. They start to actually laugh, and they just think it's the funniest thing in the world. And then they start to dance. And to me, that is actually what is so, so key and fundamental, is that, like I said at the beginning, it's less about the outcome. It wasn't about the mine working or not. It's not about our house in Crete working or not. It's about the courage and the faith and the joy and the energy to go ahead and create it, regardless of the actual outcome. And that's a really hard thing to get your head around, because we're so conditioned to believe that, yes, it has to be the end result. It has to be the dream of X, Y, or Z. But it isn't that at all. And I think that's where the courage comes from. It's the idea of not being attached to the outcome. It's the idea of saying, well, I have given everything to this. And 9 times out of 10, when you give everything to it, it is going to be fruitful. Zorba was a bit of a messer, so there's probably a reason why it all tumbled down. But I think the message in it is what I want you to hold on to. It's like, yes, I'm going to do this. Like, for example, in a relationship, yes, we're going to go, both of us, into this as the best of our ability, and maybe it'll work out and maybe it won't, but at least it's that whole idea of to have loved at all is better. To have loved and lost is better than to have not loved at all. It's the same idea. It's the same principle. To have dreamt and really brought everything that you can to that dream, in this one dream of yours, is better than to have not done it at all, regardless of the outcome. And that is where you start to reframe challenges. That's where the positive mindset starts to come in. That's where, any dream, big or small, is going to have a myriad of obstacles along the way. There's just no doubt about it. There's going to be small things, there's going to be some bigger things, but there's going to definitely be a series of smaller things that will arise, like things not working, people not getting back to you, getting rejections, getting whatever it might be. But when you actually enter into it and you say to yourself, okay, this is not going to be necessarily plain sailing, that the challenges and the obstacles are part of it. Like, what if it all just fell into your lap? Where would the actual sort of joy come from? Where would the energy come from? It's like the idea that you are working with the obstacles, that you're embracing them, that you're finding a way, like through a choppy sea, to navigate them. And I think that's really important. And I want you to remember that as you go through 2024, is that you are taking accountability for those obstacles, that you're not that you're expecting the worst, okay, but you are actually just accepting and embracing them. Really, you're able to say that this is part of it. This is actually part of it. It's not like this is, oh, it means I can't do it, or there's a problem. It's just like, yeah, well, of course, this is going to happen. Things aren't going to exactly go smoothly, and it's all normal. So keep that in mind. Okay, next slide, please, Kieran. Aha, yes. This is the next part that I think is definitely, as you can see, everything's kind of building into each other. So when we move from the idea of accepting and embracing challenges, what we definitely need to cultivate is patience. And I'm just going to go to the polls actually and see what's happening there, because one of the questions I asked is, do you think you are a patient person? Let's see. What do you do? Okay. So, oh yeah, sorry, I'll just go back to this for a moment. What do you do when you meet a series of obstacles? 18% say give up. Okay, well, so we've got a high percent that keep going, but get frustrated. And it's that frustration, I think, that can really start to go down when you're not resisting them, when you're saying, okay, this is part of it, then that will make a difference. And would you consider yourself a patient person? Good, I'm delighted to see that. 64% say yes. Well done. Go. God, that's brilliant. And because we can be quite hard on ourselves about being patient. Like if you ask the question, would you consider yourself a kind person? Most people will say yes. And a lot of people will say, or a lot of people will say yes, they are. But when we say patient, we can be quite hard on ourselves in terms of actually saying that, yes, we are patient. So that's a pretty good percentage there of saying that you are. So great. Because patience obviously is a key component. It's actually a component in my new book as well, which I'll talk about in a little bit of time. But for now, it's just to say that the idea of, you know, giving yourself time and not expecting immediate results, being able to visualize into the future is really important. The next slide there, it's basically patience is your superpower. And for those of you that said that, yes, you are patient, right? That's really, really good in terms of being able to apply it to your dream, because there's different types of patience. And I researched this in my book. And so it could be that you might be patient with other people, but maybe less patient with yourself, or less patient with external goals, or you might be patient waiting in traffic, but not patient when it comes to, you know, waiting for health results, for example. So there's different components of it, different layers of it. So what we want to do is bring that patience in to realizing your dream, that it's going to, you know, 2024, yes, it's a year. You may realize it this year, but what you want to be doing either way is working towards it, and that it takes time. I think that's really important. Next slide there, Kieran. Yeah, and this is about the trusting. So I trust the next chapter because I know the author. And I think that's a lovely quote. We don't know who said it, but there's something very reassuring again, isn't it? It's back to the sense of empowering yourself, that you're the one writing your own book, if you like, of life. Next slide there, Kieran. Trust in your ability to be happy. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about stepping out of your own way, that again, when you reflect on that child who wanted to be, you know, the dancer, the artist, the pilot, the teacher, the vet, that there wasn't a doubt, there wasn't that sense of, do I deserve to be happy, or can I be happy? There's a natural instinct and a sense of knowing that, yes, I can be. So you have that within you, right? And it's again, just trusting yourself to realize that it's there for you when you step out of your own way. So you can see just how often I keep coming back to this idea of stepping out of our own way. And essentially that really means like the awareness to know that you have these fears, you have these doubts. They're all normal, but they are not what is leading your life. They are simply something that you observe, that you're aware of, but you cannot allow them to take the lead, because when you do, you're really eroding your own sense of happiness, of that innate ability to be happy, of just allowing yourself the freedom that you deserve. So it is skilled work, but it is possible, because when we bring something into the awareness, it's no longer unconscious. You're aware of these things. And because you're aware of them, you can actually do something about them. It's when they're unconscious that we are in trouble. Okay, next slide, please, Kieran. True emotional understanding has nothing to do with cheap sentimental pity. So this is an area that I've been doing a lot of work on, as I said, and that is self-compassion training. So just to briefly go through it, the next slide there, Kieran, is the idea that self-compassion is, first of all, it's not self-pity. Okay, it's often confused with that. It's got absolutely nothing to do with feeling sorry for yourself or getting, kind of too insular or too caught up in being self-absorbed. But really, when we know how to use self-compassion, it's incredibly motivating. And I'm noticing that more and more recently as I've been doing and teaching this training, is that when you have this voice in your mind that is very kind, very motivating, you're much more likely to execute things when things don't go your way, when you make a mistake, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling fearful. You have this sense of a deep understanding of why you feel like that, but also, and so much of compassion is about alleviating the suffering. You're actually able to also take steps to relieve the suffering that you feel, the emotional suffering in this case, for example. So it might be, I'm not feeling great, I don't think I can do this, but I'm going to go for a walk. That's kind of like that compassion, taking yourself, I'm going to go for a walk and then I'm going to see how I feel, or you have something that you need to do and you're worried of the phone call, to pick up the phone to ask for the job or whatever, to start the business, to make a date, whatever it is, to put the bid in the house, whatever your dream is, and you feel that sense of fear. It's like, well, okay, it's there, right? But let me just work with it. Not let me bring this with me. Let me find a way. Let me get out into nature. Let me do something. And that self-compassion, that kindness towards yourself is just incredibly motivating. Because the opposite, of course, is to be self-critical, to say, look, I told you couldn't do this. You're no good. Who are you kidding? All of that really negative self-talk. So we want to be very aware of that and to bring in that self-compassion. So next slide, please. Okay, so yeah, this again is summing it all up together. Everything is starting to kind of, as you can see, it's all coming in. It's kind of like a filter coming in. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult. And this is about the idea, and that's Seneca, of redefining success. That it is that, again, the comfort zone, when we do not dare, that's when things are difficult, because we know that there's this part of us that we're blocking out, that is trying to get our attention, that little niggle, that voice, that can get stronger, that can go away when it's anesthetized. But that is the real difficulty. That is the real challenge. The next slide there, Kieran. This is, the idea of redefining success. And again, this goes back to the idea of being unattached to the outcome. The success, as Brennan would say, she's a key researcher, as some of you I'm sure will know her work in vulnerability. The success is putting your toe in the water. The success is taking the steps towards realizing your dream, whether it is realized or it is not. It is a success. And I think that is what really just is so possible. It makes it possible. It takes the pressure off. It takes the sense of the fear of failure, as Dee mentioned earlier. It takes the fear of success off, because you are not identified by either. You are absolutely more in tune with the sense of being true to yourself is the success, regardless of the result. And, when you have that mentality, and believe me, I've worked hard on this myself, and I've helped so many people over the years to do the same. Kieran used to joke and say, has another client left their job, Fiona? And I'd say, well, I think they're starting their business. You go, oh my God. And it's not that I would ever tell people to do these things, but that when they do that deeper inner work, they start to have the courage, they start to feel that they can. And as a result, success externally does start to happen because that strength is within. Yes, so hopefully that makes sense. I'm just going to, before I do I knew I'd go over time here, but that's okay. It's 25 past, so I'm going to go on a little bit. But before I do the hypnotherapy, I just want to show you some of what our dreams are for this year. The Positive Habits Dream for 2024 is to help you realize yours, okay? And how we're going to do that is my new book has just been launched, if you like, for pre-order. I've shared it on Instagram. It's on the website. I would be so grateful if you would pre-order it. There's an amazing competition there for you to do so, to incentivize you. And it's a book that I have, again, put my heart and my soul into it. Orla, my sister's here this evening. She will know just how much work has gone into this. It's been a year-long journey of exploration. And essentially the book is really about, even though it's about sleep, it's actually about waking up. It's about waking up to the power of sleep. It's about waking up to the power of your life. And it looks at 3 key strengths. I mentioned one of them before, that is patience, presence, and peace. So we work through those in the book. There's a lot of hypnotherapies in it. It's an 8-week program. To be honest, like, I'm really proud of it. And I know that it's going to help so many people to sleep well, to live well. So if you haven't already, please do consider pre-ordering the book. I'd be very, very grateful. It just helps so much. I'm doing further self-compassion training live and online starting the 29th of January. Many of you have been with me on that journey so far, and you can come on it if you haven't yet. Kieran will share details on that. And then we're going to be doing 1-day sleep experiences, retreats, 1-day retreats in Wicklow on the 21st of April. And we have a date in Cork that we need to confirm in May. So if you're in Cork, this is good news for you. And then I would just be so blessed and honored if anyone here would love to come over to Crete at the end of June. We have still just a few places left on our Light Up 2024. And I can show you this incredible place that I keep on talking about. So that is some of our plans, which is quite a lot when I look at it for 2024. So for now, let's take some time to do a short hypnotherapy meditation. Stay with me. Let's make the most of this time and visualizing your dream. So wherever you are, just make yourself really comfortable, okay? When we do a hypnotherapy, it's about actually getting comfortable as opposed to a meditation, which I often think is much more about kind of alertness and being more wakeful. But for a hypnotherapy, what you want to actually do is just start to really go into a deep place of relaxation. So when you're ready, I want you to close down your eyes and I want you to allow yourself to just simply focus on my voice. That's it, nothing else, just my voice. Keep focusing on my voice. Allow yourself to notice the inner state of your body. Allow yourself to notice that you deserve to realize your dream and to live the life that you were born to lead. Allow yourself to notice that time is here, is now. That the time has come for you to be true to the deepest parts of who you are. To help you with this, I'm going to encourage a deep state of relaxation. So you can allow your whole body now to imagine, just imagine and pretend, and your imagination is so powerful. Imagine and pretend that you're floating in a beautiful blue sea or a warm bath, and that every muscle in your body is relaxing. And as your muscles relax, you start to let go. You start to feel like anything perhaps is possible because you're so relaxed, you see. And the more you're relaxed, the more relaxed you feel, the more that you start to notice that there is this incredible strength within you that was there as a child, that was there in the time that you showed courage, that is here now at the beginning of this new year, 2024. So let's go a little bit deeper now. Just noticing that you can relax further. It may surprise you to notice how you can relax as you keep focusing on my voice. And my voice guides you. And it's really very easy. In fact, it's effortless. You don't have to do anything at all. Just allow me to bring you on this journey where you start to visualize your dream. I'm going to count you down now, very slowly, very gently. Really allow yourself to relax further, noticing how deeply you can relax, how you can let go. So when you're ready, just breathe in for 5 and exhale fully. Breathe in for 4 and exhale fully. Feel the muscles soften, feel everything drift now. You're letting go. It's really easy to let go. It's really easy to allow your dreams to realize when you focus on that feeling inside of energy, of happiness, of joy, of freedom, to realize that you are free to choose your own life, to lead your life as you breathe in for 3. You drift further as you exhale deeper. And you're just letting go now, and the whole body is so relaxed, so at peace, so free to be as we go further now, deeper still to 2, breathing in, exhaling. Just like the waves in the sea that come in and come out, you can trust my voice, you can trust your breath, you can trust yourself to be happy, to be true. As we take the deepest breath out for 1. Hold it at the top, exhale fully, and go deeper and deeper and deeper relax. So just allow your head now to drop down. And you're drifting down, you're drifting further and deeper still. And you're starting to allow yourself to visualize your dream. I want you to start to really focus on that one dream and to see it there in front of you. To see yourself literally walking into that dream, whatever it is that you have for yourself, you're living it now and you're breathing it now. So whether it's like starting your own business, I want you to see the office. I want you to see the people around you. Whether it's a new relationship, I want you to see that person. Whether it's a new house, I want you to feel the handle of the door as you open it. Whether it's anything in your own life that you have in particular, start to visualize it, start to feel it, start to use all of your senses. It's happening, it's here, it's now. You're visualizing it, you're realizing it. As you visualize and realize, your imagination does not know the difference. Start to feel the emotion, the sense of all the obstacles that you met and all of the different things that happened along the way, and yet you are here. Start to notice how you were able to sail through the frustrations, able to really manage the obstacles, things that would have really caused you so much stress. You were able to just kind of smile and laugh like Zorba the Greek and say, well, okay, this is happening, but I am proceeding regardless. And you feel free because you are free. You're free because you have created the freedom within that you deserve to live and lead the life that you were born to live. And I want you to remember this. And I want you to know that we're going to come back here. We're going to come back here in 1 year from today. And you're going to be able to say to yourself, I am so proud. I am so proud of the steps that I took, of the courage that I showed to live the life that I was born to lead. And I want you to really notice that when you start to become accountable to yourself, to take responsibility, to realize that with dreams comes responsibility, and that you open your arms to this responsibility, and that when you do that, there really is nothing to fear because you have faith, you have certainty, you have everything that you need already. It's already within you, and it's just waiting to blossom. It's waiting to come out. So allow yourself to feel that emotion. Hold on to it. Remember it. It's yours. It's your gift to yourself. You gave it to yourself by being here now. by being with me now live or watching this later. This has come to you through you. You can trust yourself. You are capable. You are amazing. You are living the life that you deserve to live, that you were born to live. Keep breathing. Hold on to the feeling. Hold on to the relaxation now. But we're going to become just a little bit more alert. And I'll count slowly up and the feeling will remain, the relaxation will stay. You'll enjoy the rest of your evening. You will definitely sleep well tonight. You will feel motivated. You will also feel calm. You'll feel alert. You will feel relaxed. You will know that you have within you all that you need. You will be faithful to that little boy, that little girl inside, who lives from the heart, who lives from love, who is here now, living and breathing within you on the 2nd of January, 2024. So when you're ready, let's take a full breath in. Exhale fully. Keep the relaxation. You're doing really well. Let's breathe in for 2. Keep a smile to the face. Bring a smile to the face. Share the smile. Exhale fully. Our 3rd, our deepest breath yet of the whole evening. Right in. Hold it and imagine we're all together in one amazing space, wherever you are in the world. Hold it. Open the eyes. And exhale. Have a good stretch. And there we are. Thank you. Thank you so much. We want to thank you all for being here. You've no idea what it means. We've had so many adventures. We've come to a hotel room because there's no Wi-Fi in the house. There's so many obstacles of the dreams. We're here and we're just so delighted that you are. I want to thank every single one of you for being here, and also in particular those who were able to donate. It really, really makes it possible for us to do these events and to reach as many people as we can. The next in the series, I've got a great guest lined up for the 12th of February. So we'll be announcing that soon. And I can't wait to see you there. I'll be back in my own proper setup with my big screen and everything. But I want to thank you so much. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Aileen, Colette. You've no idea how much every one of you means to us as part of this community. Sylvia, Sharon, Patricia, Edel, Martina. Thank you so much. Maria, Michelle, Valerie, G. I'm so glad you enjoyed the hypnotherapy. Sandra, Anthony, it's lovely. I haven't heard your name before. You're so welcome. Breda, always welcome. My pet, thank you for being here. Mairead and Una. Bonnie, I love it. Bonnie, thank you so much. Happy New Year, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And Kali Nigda Kronia Pola, as they say here in Greece, which means many years to you. Maria, I'm delighted you're with me on the self-compassion journey, and hopefully more of you will join us. Nuala, lots of love. Oh, I'm so delighted, Leslie, that you were here. Yeah, it really does make a difference. It's so good to start the year, and we will be back next year and to be accountable for that. I'm so happy it's helpful, Noreen. Okay, bye-bye, Norma. Lots of love. Kira's be going, off you go, pet. Love you lots, everybody. Thank you for being here. Kali Nikta, Orla, love you. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.